Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Time once again for the monthly Monday morning meeting with the mayor. Takes time out of his busy schedule to join us and talk with us. Mayor Rudy Wright, mayor of the city of Hickory. And I think, unfortunately, we'll start on a sad note this morning. Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And I know that we kind of talk about what we want to explore on the air so that we're kind of set and ready. And I think it is good and right that you would mention a passing this morning.
Yeah, I want to mention the passing of Libby Meisner, wife of Bruce Meisner, our council member for some 30 years, and she and her family waged a tremendous battle against cancer. I have been very impressed with the closeness of that family and how they dealt with this. It's just been a terrific struggle. But a celebration of her life tomorrow at I'm going to get this wrong. Just check the
obituaries.
Google the obituaries and you'll find it. But it's sometime tomorrow.
All right. He's a really nice guy. I like him. And I met her through him. And attractive, nice, just a really, really good person. And she will be missed. And I've not seen her for a while, but it was always good to see her. When she was out and about with him in years past, it was always nice to see her. She was a very pleasant and a very kind woman.
Well, and she served diligently on some of our boards and commissions, too. So definitely a service-oriented family, and Libby will be greatly missed.
Good representative of the city, and, of course, as you said, thoughts and prayers go out to friends and family, and, of course, Mr. Meisner, a member of City Council. So, unfortunately, on a sad note, but a good way to let people know that but, of course, she will be missed in our community. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a good thing to do.
And on a positive note, we are I will have to head out of here right on time today because we have a groundbreaking for the new Chick-fil-A off of 127. And I know a lot of people have looked forward to that. We have also heard some people say, well, the traffic is going to get worse. And yeah, the traffic's going to get worse. At some point, we're going to have to deal with curb cuts and auxiliary ways to get onto and off of 127. But and that day's coming pretty close because 127 is very busy by Hickory standards. They're not very busy by Charlotte standards.
Right. It's a good way to put it.
And I always like to get a plug in for how nice it is to be here in Hickory and only an hour from Charlotte.
Yeah, that's right.
And 55 minutes from the airport. And but I was caught in traffic on my way to... Well, we did a little spring vacation, my wife and I, and we got caught in traffic in Charlotte. Unfortunately, we got there about 4:15, and it seemed like we just sat there for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But even that is not as bad as the traffic in a lot of other places.
Well, with traffic in Charlotte now, we figured out what you do is you go park north of Charlotte, or slightly south of Charlotte, get off the interstate, take the train into downtown. You go see the concert, you go see the ball game, whatever. It's a great way to get around. Chick-fil-A. The other day I was out at Chick-fil-A. I don't mind telling people.
But that train doesn't do you much good when you're going to Florida.
No. If you're going downtown Charlotte, train's great. You're going to Florida, can't help you. Help you. But I don't mind telling people I ate at Chick-fil-A, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I was there the other day, and I thought to myself, oh, goodness gracious, they have to have, here's what they have to have on busy days, police. Stop traffic. They can't have a regular drive-through. You can't pull in one side and go through the drive-through. You got to circle around, go around, and they don't even have the speaker. They got somebody out there with a menu so that you're not backed up into the highway. I thought to myself, goodness gracious, can you have a more popular restaurant? And it goes to show you they're not open on Sundays. They don't do that. Mr. Cathy said when he was, that they're not going to do that. None of the Chick-fil-A's. But when you have to have a policeman at lunchtime manage traffic, you got you a popular restaurant. Oh, just got some information. Go ahead.
Okay.
Libby Meisner, there you go.
Oh, okay. The Libby Meisner's service will be at 3 p.m. tomorrow at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church.
Very good. Well, we thank Tommy for bringing that in. He was here this morning. Libby Meisner, 3 o'clock tomorrow at the Holy Trinity Lutheran. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you doing that. But, yeah, there you go. So it's coming to Viewmont. I asked somebody, and very briefly, but I asked somebody, I said, I'm talking to the mayor tomorrow. I said, if you had, you were there and could ask the mayor a question, what would you like to talk to the mayor about? And it was about 127. It was about the speeding and the congestion. Like you said, not as bad as Charlotte, but obviously something's going to have to be done to regulate traffic there. It's a difficult situation.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something, but I maintain my commitment to not ripping our neighborhoods apart up and down 127. We will come up with alternative ideas. But I would say again that lest anyone have any concerns, I don't think there is any mood for putting high traffic impact stores along 127. Obviously, a Chick-fil-A or another McDonald's. I don't want to leave out my friends, the Joiners and the Lynx and their McDonald's, because they are so good to this community, as has Chick-fil-A been. So, and I'm not going to name other names. A lot of our local entities have been very generous, and some not so generous. But I will just tell you that McDonald's and Chick-fil-A have stood out over the years.
More First Talk after the break. You're listening to First Talk with Hal Rowe, broadcast live Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. on 1290 WHKY AM, talk radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, and also streaming live at WHKY.com. The program you're presently enjoying was digitally captured. Good to know we have expansion coming up in the city of Hickory. People open new business. That's good news. Mayor Rudy Wright joins us this morning for the monthly Monday morning meeting with the mayor here on First Talk. We take your phone calls, 327-WHKY, 327-9459. Last week, Danny Hearn was in on Monday. We had folks in later in the week to talk about Hickory Corning Proud. Corning, we had talked about that earlier, briefly, on the station, about Corning taking a look at possibly moving their corporate headquarters, while the manufacturing concern and facility would remain here. Possibly a move of the headquarters. I wanted to hear your take on this, your opinion on it, and what you'd like to say about, first of all, about Hickory Corning Proud, and about the possibilities and of them staying or them leaving.
Well, we have no reason to believe they're leaving. We know they are going through that process. I certainly hope and think that they're going to stay. And I'm delighted that these folks at the chamber have this effort, Hickory Corning Proud. I think that will be it's a unifying thing for our city, and I think the people at Corning will realize the importance that our community places on having their headquarters right here. I think I believe, of course, that having Corning here is a win-win for both of us, right. And we hope that this is showing them how strongly we all feel about that.
I don't want to get you into any type of conversation that you don't want to get into or will not get into, because I know that whatever incentives the city is working with Corning to stay, as it does with many companies, either to bring them in or to have them remain. I don't know exactly what's coming from Economic Development Corporation. I think all of this, as and well as it should be between the city of Hickory, possibly the county, which is, I guess, Economic Development Corporation. All that is between Corning and these offers and these talks need to be remain confidential during a negotiation period. I don't even know if you would want to do this or not, and certainly tell me, but the types of things, can we even talk about the types of things that may be in an offer like this, or is that just something that you just stay away from?
I'm just going to stay out of it, except to say that we are certainly prepared to and have indicated a willingness to consider incentives along the lines of something that may be offered somewhere else.
Okay.
We don't want to lose Corning because someone else offers them incentives, and we're not willing to be involved in that as well. And of course, we stand ready to meet with the Corning people or their consultants at any time, and they stand ready to meet with us, we believe, to talk about that very thing. It would be unfair to our competitive situation if we talked about incentives.
Sure.
And the other locations, and we don't even know what other locations are being considered. We don't know for sure. I guess there's some speculation, but we don't know for sure what other locations are being considered.
Sure.
And so we certainly don't know anything about any incentives that are being offered elsewhere.
Right.
So the answer is, except to say that we are doing everything we can to maintain that hometown relationship with Corning. I'm not going to be able to talk about any specifics.
I understand, certainly, and
Yeah.
I understand why, exactly. Yeah. When I was living in Montgomery, Alabama, they had the folks from Mercedes looking at moving into Birmingham. And basically, the folks in Birmingham said, what would you like, what do you need? And they said, well, and it came down to, basically, and my understanding was, dry cleaning for the executives of that company. Basically, if you move here, you never have to worry about your dry cleaning again. They said, we want the Mercedes logo on Legion Field where the University of Alabama plays football. That's what and you know what was on that stadium was the Mercedes logo. What it has done for Birmingham, for Montgomery, for the outlying areas, because I hear people talk about, we don't want to get into incentives. We don't want to get into this game. It's a losing game if you put money. But look what it's done for the state of Alabama and what it's done for Birmingham, for Montgomery, for the manufacturing, for the outlying areas. While we're on the subject, and we're not going to talk about Corning specifically or any group specifically, how do you feel about it? Because I know there's people who say we don't want to do incentives ever, because there are certain things that we can provide, sidewalks, infrastructure, things like this. But when we get into this, that should be private industry. I just want to know your feelings on it in the Alabama area.
Well,
for new companies coming. Not keeping one, but new companies coming in.
Well, my personal feeling is that we ought to compete on the basis of a high level of service, a high quality of life, and a fair, low tax rate. But I am not willing. Hal, I remember standing in the driveway, and I know this is going to sound melodramatic, but this is exactly what happened. I remember as a 7th grader standing in the driveway of my house, my dad getting ready to get in the car to go to Pennsylvania to find work. And I didn't know anything except my hometown, and not knowing what's going to happen if my dad goes to Pennsylvania and finds work, and figuring that we're going to move to Pennsylvania, and I remember the horrible feeling I had, and I guess all of us kids were crying, and Mama was crying, and Dad got in the car, and then he got back out and said, I'm going to look another week here. And I remember the great feeling I had, because I didn't know much about budgeting and what was going on there. I knew we never had all the stuff we wanted, but we always had what we needed, as they say. And So I'm not going to let my personal opinions about that. I'm not going to be dogmatic and try to explain to the father of a 7th grader, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader that because I don't think that that's the way we ought to do things, I'm not going to worry about his job. So no, we have done it many times before. We'll do it many times again. I hope we don't ever reach the levels like I happened to be at a League of Municipalities meeting out in Washington. I believe the very day that they announced they were giving $9 billion to Boeing to keep their plant in Seattle. $9 billion. I think the North Carolina general fund budget is $22 billion in a year. And in one fell swoop, Washington gave $9 billion to Boeing because North Carolina had offered billions, I guess, and South Carolina had offered many billions. So no, we don't. There are limits to my willingness to participate. But no, I have decided that the need for jobs outweighs my personal dogma.
327 WHKY, 327-9459. Questions for the monthly Monday morning meeting with the mayor as we continue this morning. Of course, we'll take your phone calls. Lots to talk about. Lots going to be happening in downtown Hickory. We're going to find out about. We got the farmers market opening this month. Got the Hickory Crawdads, their season opener coming up this week. Lots of great things to talk about in the city of Hickory. We'll talk more with the mayor after this break.
Have a good day with 1290 WHKY Hickory, talk radio for the greater Hickory Metro.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY, talk radio for the greater Hickory Metro. It's the monthly Monday morning meeting with the mayor. Mayor Rudy Wright joins us. Let's talk about some of the great things that are happening in our area because you spoke about it in the last segment. We were talking about incentives. You said quality of life. And there's a lot of quality of life things that are going to be happening starting during this month. Things are spring is in the air. And let's talk, first of all, before we do that, I want to talk briefly about, because I get the emails from Pat Appleson and from the chamber, and they say, go check out the photos. And I've seen your photographs a lot recently, ribbon cuttings, and whether that's for companies that have been in business here for a while and doing re-grand openings or commemorations, or whether they're brand new businesses. I don't think people sometimes understand when they see a business open that's employing 5, 10, 15 people, there is growth going on right now in the city of Hickory. I'd like you to comment on that.
Excuse me.
So,
well,
spring is in here.
Spring is. Yeah, but the most job creation in this country is in small businesses, and we've had a lot of ribbon cuttings, and that's encouraging. It's encouraging that our restaurants continue to seem to stay full, and the lines at some of the restaurants are amazing. We have a lot of good things going, and I was thinking this weekend. I was thinking, I believe there's a lot of optimism here. And I think a lot of that is driven by the fact that we realize that we're going to do something about our own destiny. We're going to change the look and feel of Hickory a little bit. We're not going to lose all of the wonderful things that have made us what we are, but we are going to. I think people are going to start saying, "Wow! Did you see that?" Have you noticed, by the way, Hal, I think that parking deck at the convention center, I think the way it's been designed, I think it's going to enhance the convention center. I didn't know how in the world a parking deck in front would enhance it. But I think the architects and the engineers and the builders have come up with something that's going to rejuvenate and enhance our convention center.
That's great.
And what a great image of Hickory when you're driving along.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking, I-40.
Center there. And the convention center, along with the big name hotels, as well as our Harley Davidson. I think that's a nice little statement about Hickory right there on that corner. And as people hear about the Greenway and the City Walk and the Lackey Conservatory, as well as the park at the lake, I think the enthusiasm is going to be is definitely going to be spreading, and I look forward to a wonderful 2015.
I look forward to that positive mental attitude and people speaking well and saying good things. I think that is necessary for it to continue on and to get to even a higher level. Farmers Market, crawdads, music series. Let's talk a little bit about those and when we're talking quality of life and what the city of Hickory has to offer, because a lot of people in towns the same size as Hickory don't have those things that I just mentioned.
Well, with 40,010 people.
Yeah, I got to write that down. You told me to write that down. 40,010 people. That's the city of Hickory, right?
City of Hickory at the last census was 40,010.
Okay.
And the way I remember that, 2010 was the year. 40,010
gotcha.
Is the number.
All right, 40,010.
I'm going to make you a magnetic to put over here.
I got it right here.
40,010.
Got it right here.
But most cities our size do not have things like the crawdads, an art museum, 2 city libraries, and a very comprehensive parks and recreation program as well as facilities. And there are things for all ages. You know, it's not all ages can enjoy those amenities that I'm talking about, and all ages are going to enjoy the new things that we're going to create. Maybe the grandparent out there says, I don't know how much I'm going to use that park at the lake, but when your grandchildren visit you, if they're not here, you'll be taking them to that lake, right, to that park. So I know I'm looking forward to taking my grandchildren to it. And so not only are we going to be boosting the economic prospects of Hickory, we're going to be boosting our quality of life, and we are going to enjoy day-to-day living in Hickory more.
We've talked about a lot of things kind of around it and surrounding it, but let's actually talk about the bond, the referendum that passed, and I guess it's the municipal bond program now, and I don't just call it the referendum because the referendum is passed. When do we start to see the direct results? I know that we talked about the fact, we got to have the bond issued, we've got to have the money, but where are we with that? Because every time that we come in, I think monthly would be a good idea to kind of catch up and see where we are with the monies and what's happening with the bond program, I guess.
Well, over the coming months, we will have a follow-up meeting of our bond board commission. I don't think we've chosen a name for them yet. I think they voted. If I'm wrong on this, I apologize. I think they have voted to call themselves Recrafting Hickory.
Okay.
You know, our slogan or catchphrase or whatever you call it is it a hashtag? What is a hashtag, man?
It's just when you're on Twitter, you hashtag it, takes you to the place where everybody else is talking about it. So if you hashtag Hickory, it'll take you to every place that's talking about Hickory. But you got to be careful. Like you want to make sure that it goes to the right one, because that can bring up Hickory Wood, that can bring up Hickory, Missouri. So life well crafted.
Is there a Hickory, Missouri?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I know. I was reading. Sometimes I go to Barnes & Noble and I buy the bargain books right outside the door. You know where that is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I got one called Bad Girls. Now, it's not what you think. But it was about Matahari. It was about
sure, okay, yeah,
about the real bad girls of history.
Right.
And one of them was from Hickory, Mississippi, and I'd never heard of Hickory, Mississippi. But off of that subject, a play on Hickory Well Crafted, they're going to call it Recrafting Hickory, I think.
Okay.
If that's not what they agree on, then I apologize. But I think they're going to call it Recrafting Hickory. And we had a social meeting, a get-together to get to know people. And I may have told this before, but we have people from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and one from the 80s.
Right.
Charlie Dixon. So, very interesting group, very committed, excited. They want to make a difference in Hickory.
So Recrafting Hickory,
and another thing is,
yes,
the water park that's being planned for downtown, the Friends of Hickory.
Right.
I guess I'm not spilling the beans on that, but one of their key people told me that they are right at $250,000 raised now for that water park.
Really? So how much more is it going to take? I mean, that's kind of right where they need to be, right?
I think they're estimating about $350 maybe.
I was going to say, that's awfully close to where they need to be.
And that's going to be another great thing for us to take our grandchildren to, another thing to take our children to. And we did the Child Abuse Prevention Month observation at Zara's Park.
Yes.
That beautiful playground, the new bathroom and shelter section, the new tree house.
Yes.
You have to go a long ways to find a better playground than that one. And of course, the joke is it used to be Kiwanis Park, and now it's Zara's Park. And that was not intentional. It was going to be Zara's playground at Kiwanis Park, but I think people just say, I'm going to Zara's Park. So, yeah, we've just got so many wonderful things, and what a great example that is of our community pulling together and getting some assistance. Chick-fil-A, I mentioned them earlier. Chick-fil-A was a big contributor, and McDonald's, the Ronald McDonald Foundation, it wouldn't have been possible without them. So we really have had tremendous commitment of people and businesses in that effort.
Do we forget that as people who live here? Do we forget it, and do we not talk about it enough? Because the things that we have kind of talked about this morning, when we're talking about quality of life, we've gone over a lot of things this morning that should incentivize companies to take a look and say, Science Museum, Zara's Playground, the Farmers Market,
libraries,
the things that maybe sometimes we as residents don't think about. Mr. Mayor may be back. We don't know because he's got another appointment this morning. More First Talk after the... You're listening to First Talk with Hal Rowe, broadcast live Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. on 1290 WHKY AM, talk radio for the Greater Hickory Metro, and also streaming live at WHKY.com. The program you're presently enjoying was digitally captured this past Monday morning.
For 75 years, keeping you
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. The mayor has departed, and we knew that he was going to have to leave early today because of the groundbreaking at the Chick-fil-A on Highway 127. And I'll give you a landmark. You know where Viewmont Pharmacy is. It's going to be right in that area, and the groundbreaking will take place in less than a half an hour. So we want to make sure the mayor got over there, got parked. But before he departed, something that we were talking about that I think is important. And I want to thank the mayor for his time coming in and spending time with us in the studio, taking your phone calls live on the air. 327-WHKY, 327-9459. Something that we were talking about that I think we all need to remember. As we talked about the farmers market, crawdads, music series, the bond referendum, the ribbon cuttings, the upcoming Taste of Hickory, all these things that happen within the Greater Hickory Metro, and not just right here in Hickory, but throughout the Greater Hickory Metro, all these things, the quality of life things that we don't appreciate or we don't think about maybe until they're gone. Maybe until they're no longer here. These are some things that I am fully aware of. And I understand how fortunate we are to have in this area, because I've lived in some great places in this fine nation of ours, and admittedly in the Southeast, a wonderful area of the country, the Southeast. But I think that sometimes we don't think enough about all the wonderful things that we have in the greater Hickory Metro, and we don't talk about them enough. The mayor said that he found a sense of optimism in the area. Sometimes people will approach me and with a good deal of pessimism and talk about some of the negatives. How come we don't have this? How come this is not happening? We don't have this or we don't have that, or when's this going to come, or we don't have that. I'll tell you, some of the things that we don't have are blessings. We don't have the difficult traffic situations. We don't have some of the crime. We don't have some of the difficulty that are associated with towns of 40,010 individuals. We don't have some of the problems. We do have some of the greatest things going on. And I think these are the things, just for me, that I want to remember, that I want to talk about, that I want to take a look at and say, these are good things. These are positive things, and these are the things that we need to talk about and celebrate. And don't get me wrong, I understand that we have problems, we have difficulties, and they're sure they need to be brought to light, and they need to be talked about, and they need to be explored, but we can take a look at them as challenges with solutions. We haven't talked about that in a long time. But these positive things that happen in our community, I think they need to be celebrated. I will say this, that I have run across recently some folks who are pessimistic and are not very happy. And I understand that, and I'm not going to by any way try to negate those feelings or dismiss those feelings, that if people are having difficulties and they don't like the way things, and I'm not one of these folks that, there used to be an expression that people used to bandy about, America, love it or leave it. I think America, love it or change it. There's a certain group of people that I hang out with, they say, hang around. If you like us, hang around. If you don't like us, hang around and change it. There you go. That's what we do. So again, we need to become involved. We need to have our voices heard. If we don't like it, and if we do, see, on the opposite side of that coin, if we don't like it, we ought to try to change it. And if we do like it, we ought to talk it up and say good things about it. I don't know why this thought just hit me, but our barber, just look at it as a barber shop. If you get a bad haircut, tell everyone where you got your haircut, and it's bad, and move to a different barber, or move on down the line in the barber chairs. Don't get your hair cut by that barber again. But if you get a really nice do, and it's looking good on you, and people say, wow, that's a good-looking haircut. Of course, with me, this really doesn't apply. But it's a good-looking haircut. I tell people where you got that haircut. Be proud of it. Say, yeah, you know where I got this guy? Got a cut over at Bill's Barber Shop. Or you fill in the barber shop. Got a cut at Laxton's over there just off Highway 70. Head on over to Laxton's Barber Shop. You're going to like the work they do. There you go. Speak highly and recommend those things that are positive and good. Change the things that are not. Either go to a different barber or slide on down to a different chair. Sorry if it hurts his feelings. Phil, I'm sorry. We're not going to do it this time around. I wasn't pleased with the job last time. I'm going to go down here and let Betty do it. That'll be fine with Phil. He understands. Maybe not used to the shape of your head, or maybe he's not used to cutting just the sides of someone's head. He needs a full head of hair, not just the sides. Saw a guy with a mohawk the other day. Didn't look that friendly. I was going to go up to him and say, hey, buddy, put us together. We got a full head of hair. But I did that late years ago, and it worked out okay. I don't know about this guy. Don't know if he had that type of sense of humor or not. We've got a great week lined up for you here on the First Talk Radio program. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you're enjoying an Easter Monday. Hope you had a great Easter. Maybe you got Good Friday off, or maybe you're off for Easter Monday. But we certainly hope that you enjoy today, whether it's recollections of a good day yesterday or the good day that you're going to have today. But we've got a great week lined up for you. Some wonderful guests about things that are happening right here in our own community. We hope you'll continue to listen to the First Talk Radio program. And we get calls every day. People talking about wanting to join the program, wanting to be in, to tell us about what's happening. Best way to do that, email us, talk at WHKY.com, TALK at WHKY.com, and let us know that you've got a guest or someone who would like to join us on the air. 327-WHKY, 327-9459. And Susie, we're going to go ahead and... Thanks so much for joining us on First Talk. We know you have a choice in morning radio. That's why we appreciate you choosing the First Talk radio program. Remember, talk us up. Let your friends know online and throughout the area that you do feel good and happy about being in the area. And if you don't, do what you can to get it changed, or move on down that barber chair. Get you another barber, and let the other barber know, hey, not pleased with the cut. There you go. You do have a voice. Make sure that you use it. Be grateful for what you got.